Welcome to Basement Movie Room. We're back again. It's here and there lately. We're not great at keeping a good schedule on this, but we are back because we feel the need, no, that's the wrong movie. We feel the need to discuss a very sandy planet called Arrakis.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, did we do a review of the first? I don't honestly remember.
No, we did Star Wars.
Yeah, we Star Wars.
It's sandy.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Saying I hate it. So we're reviewing Dune Part 2, and sorry that the video may be at an angle, or I don't know. I can't figure out the angle, but it's not
I look
great.
like a hobbit next to you.
That got me tickled a little bit, to be honest. So we're reviewing Dune Part 2, and we're going to try to keep this somewhat spoiler-free, even though there's spoiler reviews out there. So Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
And starring Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, Gurney Halleck himself, Josh Brolin, and Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
And of course, Stellan Skarsgård, Stellan Skateboard.
Did you already say Batista?
Dave Bautista.
Yeah,
No,
he's
I
in
didn't
there.
say him. There are a great many people. Austin Butler.
Austin Butler,
Yeah,
can't forget him.
Can't forget the Austin Butler.
And Zendaya.
I said her.
Okay.
I did say her. So Dune 2 just came out, I guess technically yesterday. We saw it Friday night because we actually have jobs and we have to go do those jobs occasionally.
Yes.
So we saw it just a few hours ago. We started it at least. It's about 11:40 our time right now. So we started at 7, ended about 10:08, and we were pretty much fresh off that. We're going to try to keep this spoiler-free, although I'll just say there might be spoilers.
I think we just go spoilers.
Yeah, we could. I don't think I'm prepared to discuss the plot of this, but you know what? Spoiler review!
Yes.
Why not? Let's just go. So,
Let
Dune
the
2...
spice flow.
Not the spicy spoilers flow, indeed. Dune 2 starts essentially right after the original Dune that Denis Villeneuve directed a few years ago. We meet Paul, of course, and his mother, and they're with Stilgar, and the rest of the Fremen, including Chani, played by Zendaya, trying to get to, Siege Tabor? I feel like they changed the pronunciation of that between the first movie. Because I feel like he said Siege Tabor in the first one, and this time it's like Siege Tabra or something like that. It's a little different. But in any case, they're trying to get to Siege Tabor. We get a group of Harkonnen, I don't know, mercenaries that come in, who are dispatched by the Fremen, and then Paul has to fight one, of course. But nonetheless, that's just the opening of the movie. There's not a lot to say about that, and we move on to the Fremen moving to Siege Tabor. I'm going to call it that because that's what they said in the first movie. And we also get some views of Harkonnen as well. Honestly, I'm not going to be good at the plot switching this because it's a really long movie.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how everything kind of comes throughout the movie. But nonetheless, we're on Arrakis, and the Harkonnen are taking it back and trying to destroy the Fremen. Paul Atreides is now part of the Fremen. He's got to prove his worth for the Fremen. And Stilgar believes he is the Lisan al-Gaib, which is also the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yes, the one.
Which is the one, essentially. This is just another kind of play on the one, the Star Wars one. We get this in a lot of movies. But, Frank Herbert wrote this in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was kind of like the first to kind of do this story. George Lucas borrowed pretty heavily from him as well. So basically, the plot-wise, and I'll kind of just do a quick plot summary of it, is Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, which I didn't mention earlier, believes that Paul is the Lisan al-Gaib, their like Messiah, and he wants to prove that. Chani does not believe he is that, but still likes Paul and wants to have him in their group. So they're going to move out to Siege Tabor and start attacking the Harkonnen, who are trying to take over Spice. The Harkonnens, led by Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen, and of course Raven, played by Dave Bautista, are wanting to obviously bring Spice back to its normal production for the Emperor, who helped them take down the House of Atreides. Obviously, if you've seen the first movie, you understand that Harkonnen, along with the help of the Sardaukar, the Emperor's Guard, took down Duke Leto Atreides, but Paul and his mother were able to escape. His mother's pregnant, which plays a large part in this movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
none of them think that he's still alive.
Yeah, nobody thinks he's still alive. They do ultimately figure that out, obviously, because he's part of the attacking of the Harkonnen spice mine. And basically, Raven's in charge, Batista's character is in charge of getting the spice back to its previous levels. But the Fremen are attacking it, keeping them from doing that. And Raven is not doing well with Baron Harkonnen in this movie.
Because he's trying to take it by force.
Yeah.
And
basically,
he's losing.
he's
losing this war, essentially.
Yeah.
By trying to take it by force.
And it's just not working,
No.
basically. So, ultimately, Paul is doing well in taking down these people. And they keep kind of pushing Paul as the Lisanna gave. He says he doesn't believe it. Chani doesn't believe it. He's in a relationship with Chani. And slowly, at some point, Paul's mother, Jessica, who is a Bene Gesserit, becomes the Reverend Mother of the Fremen because their mother is old, she's going to die. Stilgar suggests that she should be the mother because she's a Bene Gesserit, which the previous mother, I assume, was also a Bene Gesserit because they send their representative everywhere.
Planted in there.
Yeah, so she goes through this ritual. Yeah, this ritual where she has to drink, like, they call it worm piss.
Yeah, the life water.
The life water. It's blue, and she has to drink it, and only women have ever survived this, ultimately. Yes. So she drinks it, and the great mother, or the Reverend Mother before, is like, we've made a huge mistake. She's pregnant, but she survives it, the baby survives it, and she's talking to the baby who's in her womb throughout this movie, that baby. And at some point, Paul has a vision where the baby is played by Anya Taylor-Joy, which is a very small cameo.
Yeah, spoilers.
Big spoiler on that one. But, like, the baby's never born in this movie, which you said was a very much different than the book, because the book, the baby's born, and it's part of the battles and things like that. It's like 12 years old. So, Paul continues to attack these caravans. Stilgar continues pushing the Lisanna al Gaib thing about him, and ultimately he kind of just gives into it and takes that role. Gurney Halleck comes back as well because he became a smuggler because he survived. He became a smuggler of spice, and he survives and becomes back into Paul's allies. It's a long movie. It's hard to explain the full plot.
It's just as much world building as the first movie.
Yeah. And honestly, I can understand that people might think it's a little slow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very slow. It's a lot of world building for the first 2/3.
Yeah, very much
of the movie. But you need that kind of world building with this type of, I guess you can call it a franchise at this point, because they're going to make more. They have to.
Clearly they have to.
They're definitely going to make a third. They got it. I don't see how they're going to wrap it up in 3 movies.
Yeah.
They're going to have to keep going. But we'll get into that before we get into this review.
But, I mean, with the plot, basically Paul continues to attack these Harkonnen spice miners. And then finally Harkonnen's had enough, and he appoints his nephew, Baron Feyd-Rautha. Feyd-Rautha, played by Austin Butler.
Yep.
Good old Elvis. Sting was Feyd-Rautha in the original,
which
David Lynch Dune.
which the Bene Gesserit have mentioned a few times throughout that they have others in mind.
Yeah, and they have less to do.
Not just Paul, but they have Fade in mind as well.
Yeah, they have less to do, kind of seduce Fade Rotha and become pregnant with his child.
Basically, you're Batman and Joker.
Yeah. That's very apt comparison.
Yeah.
So Fade is kind of like they even say in the movie he's a sociopath. He has no feelings for anyone. He killed his own mother. Yeah, is what they indicate in the movie. So Fade becomes the like ruler of Dune, and Baron Harkonnen has a plan that Fade is going to become the emperor. Yeah, that they're going to take down the emperor, and that he's going to tell like the other great houses that the emperor conspired with him to take down House Atreides, and that's going to turn everybody against him.
The emperor's whole plan was hush hush.
Yeah,
with the Harkonnens.
Yeah, because the emperor says he loved Leto Atreides, but Leto Atreides had too much power.
Right.
Basically, so he was scared of him, and that's why he aligned with the Harkonnen to take down Leto and appointed the Atreides as Dune's protectors, so Harkonnens can take them down to take their planet back. Essentially,
yeah,
it's all Game of Thrones political.
Oh yeah, there's a ton. The political part of Dune is the most interesting.
Yeah.
Part.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the battles and stuff those are pretty epic too. But when it comes down to it, Dune is a political, kind of.
Yeah. It's political intrigue.
It's very political. Yeah. Political intrigue. Yes.
Yeah. So ultimately, Paul kind of, and I don't get this from the movie, whether he thinks it's real or not, but he assumes the role of Lisan Agave to convince all the Fremen in the south. They're like, we're in the north of Arrakis, and there's apparently a ton more Fremen in the south. So he kind of decides.
There's a million more Fremen in the south.
Yeah. So he decides that he's got to essentially, like, just agree to this role, basically, of being Lisan Agave, and he goes into this meeting of the Fremen and like makes a big show of it.
They're non-believers.
There, well, they're fundamentalists, so they are believers, but it takes a lot to convince.
A lot, yeah.
So
he's the one.
Yeah, he manages to convince them with his speech, which is great. It's a great scene with Stilgar saying, you have to kill me for them to believe you. And he's like, no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to do this.
You're one of my best swords.
And
why would I do that?
He talks to, I don't know why he picked this one Fremen in particular, but I guess because he's on the front row to like talk about his family history because he knew it for some reason. And basically
after he took the water of life.
He does. He takes the water of life, which is the thing only
he
survived. Should survive.
Yeah, he shouldn't have survived.
But Chani revives him with a tear. It's a very Disney story.
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, with her body's water along with the water of life revives him from almost death. And all I can think of is the Princess Bride. He's like, he's not dead. He's mostly dead. Billy Crystal there.
That's perfect.
He's mostly dead. He didn't say true love. So, it's very Disney-esque. Like true love.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that. Yeah.
So she revives him. He goes and becomes the Lisan Agave, like their messiah, and leads them into battle against the Harkonnen. And he has also sent the Emperor message to come to Arrakis because he's going to tell everyone, I guess. We didn't really know what the message said, but I think it's essentially that if you don't come to Arrakis, I'm going to tell all the great houses what you did.
Yeah.
I think is what it is. So the Emperor comes to Arrakis, and that clearly is a trap, so I don't know why the Emperor did it. I think Florence Pugh as the Emperor's daughter, which was played by... I don't know what's her name in the original movie. She was kind of the narrator.
Which they kind of played back to that narration.
Yeah, she did a little narration.
She did at the very beginning.
Yeah, she did a little narration,
like the Lynch movie,
like Virginia Madsen.
Yes,
that's who.
That's it. Yeah.
Virginia prime Virginia Madsen.
They have very similar voices too.
Yeah. Pugh was great casting in that. She's a terrific actress. It's a very small role.
Yeah,
to be honest.
for now.
So,
for now.
Yeah. So so the Fremen, in their great numbers, take on with sandworm help. You know, they ride the sandworm. Paul rides the sandworm at some point in the movie as well. He proves his mettle by riding like the massive sand.
The biggest one that they've seen.
I thought that was pretty funny. Like, that one's too big.
Yeah.
And then Stilgar said that. I honestly, this had a lot of funny parts in it.
Oh, yeah.
It had a lot of funnier parts.
Like I told you, I think Stilgar, he was kind of almost like cartoonized.
Oh, Bardem is amazing.
To where he was the comic relief. In this,
no doubt.
But it was still very dry.
Yeah, Bardem was amazing.
Which makes sense for this movie.
He's just
it's
an
very
amazing
sandy.
actor. Like, No Country for Old Men, one of my favorite movies of all time. Javier Bardem has earned, like, I'll watch pretty much anything he's done.
Yeah, the guy's voice, just his demeanor, and everything.
Even in the first one, he was kind of a little comedic in like his meeting with Leto.
Oh yeah,
like he spits and he's like, like just his facial expressions and things. But
I have no more.
Yeah, he's
no more to talk to you about.
It's kind of like Nick Nolte in The Mandalorian. I said what I said.
Yeah,
or whatever it is. He said. Yeah.
Gosh, what is that saying now?
I have spoken. That's what it is. I have spoken. That's basically what it said.
That's Bardem. Yeah.
Bardem's amazing. I mean, it's amazing casting. The cast altogether is amazing in this movie. But so they take on the Sardaukar and they bring worms in, and the Sardaukar just run. They're like the Emperor's big dudes, and they just run away.
I mean, the battle at the end, we're in spoilers.
It's truncated, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's
less than I expected.
Yeah, it's less, but like the scale was huge, but they cut it off.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I told you walking out of the theater.
Like, I wanted to see more Sardaukar, and they're amazing. That's an amazing.
They made them look inadequate.
They are. I mean, I think that's ultimately what the movie's trying to say. That the Emperor has surrounded himself with these guys who he thinks are amazing soldiers, and they're basically just a bunch of cowards.
Well, they're pretty amazing.
Oh, I'm sure they are. So, but like against a sandworm, they're not. They can't do it. There's no way. They have
against however many sandworms, they had like 7,
5 or 6, 7 maybe. Yeah. They came in hot for sure on the sandworms. And so the weird thing, I thought it was really weird. I mean, I'm not downing the movie. The movie's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's that the Sardaukar and the Emperor and all the Harkonnen men just let Paul walk right in.
Yeah.
It's very weird. But I think, go ahead.
No, that third act, I almost feel was, my biggest gripe against, Lynch's movie was, it was so rushed. The third act of this movie,
rushed.
Feel like it was along the same lines. It was rushed to that point.
Yeah, and I think ultimately Denis Villeneuve kind of felt like the book maybe was a little heavy on that part. Is probably why he rushed that part. Because honestly, the battles are fun, but the rest of the movie is perfectly fine and perfectly good, and just the kind of slower parts. So I think Denny wasn't going for the battles.
Yeah,
I think he was going for more building of the world and things like that.
Yeah, I understand that, but like the way he shoots these movies, to see an
epic scale
battle on that scale would have been awesome. We just got a little glimpse of it.
Yeah.
And even with like Gurney, getting his revenge on
on Rabbit,
that was cut short.
Yeah, I was surprised that was such a small battle.
It felt like the battle sequences were so rushed.
They are,
and it was rushed to get to the the main.
Yeah, I think
the main showdown.
I think Villeneuve understands that the book is a little bloated, to be honest, and the battle scenes are great.
Oh yeah, there's so much more in the books,
and you have to. I mean, the movie's almost 3 hours long.
I'd like to see, I'd like to hear like avid book readers
Yeah.
of this, which I know the books.
You listened to them a couple times.
Yeah.
I have not.
And I was totally fine with how all this played out. And I was actually like, oh, okay. I like everything that they changed. Personally, I like everything that they changed and how they're moving forward with this franchise. But yeah,
I mean, no complaints.
Yeah.
No notes.
Oh God, this was an epic movie to go see in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to go see it.
Yeah, because the first one we had to watch on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because they didn't put it in theaters.
Yeah.
Because it was COVID time.
Right.
So to see this one in theaters, it's epic scale. We saw it in ScreenX, so we got the walls covered with stuff in some parts of it. I don't know if you know what ScreenX is, but basically they
It's like a baby
project
IMAX.
like a wider shot. So the film is obviously wider than the screen that we get. So they project the extra film on the walls.
On the side of the walls. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting. It's like it's just out of your peripheral vision, but you can see like when some of the Harkonnen men are kind of searching the desert, you can see them kind of walking in, like out of your peripheral vision, which
wide,
is kind of it's immersive.
Yeah, those wide desert scenes.
Yeah, the wide scenes.
It worked so well.
Yeah, because it's only in the wide scenes.
Yeah.
When they kind of are panoramic.
Yeah, when you're in the sieges and stuff, you're kind of like.
Yeah, they take it down back to just the normal screen, which is huge still. And but back to the plot.
Yeah.
Basically, Paul goes in. Nobody stops him, and I kind of think nobody stops him because Baron Harkonnen's power is done at that point. The Emperor has basically said, "You have no power anymore," and Paul kills Baron Harkonnen, and then he challenges the Emperor to battle and choose your champion. And essentially, the funny thing is the Emperor doesn't choose his champion. Fade Rotha steps up and says, "I'm his champion," essentially, which, to be honest, why as the Emperor would you let that happen? Because Harkonnen House is dead at that point. You have let Baron Harkonnen die. And it's like you're going to let his nephew, who is his heir apparent, so he's the new Baron Harkonnen, fight for you? But why wouldn't you choose a starter? That's kind of thing I would...
they... In the books, they expanded.
It's expanded, I'm sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Bene Gesserit are...
Charlotte Rampling's
they're grooming him to be basically Paul Atreides.
Kwisatz Haderach?
Yeah. So they got him also, and they
and that's in the movie. It's just
so
not
they're
in
his ear, which Florence Pugh is also part of that.
Yeah.
You know, the sister.
Yeah, is she Bene Gesserit?
She's not, but she's influenced by.
Okay, so she's right with him. Leia Seydoux is the Bene Gesserit in the English Palace.
Yeah.
Well, no, in the Harkonnen Palace.
Yeah.
So okay. So that's not super clear.
So that's stuff that you don't get on.
Yeah, and it'd be hard to play that. It'd be hard to play this.
Yeah.
On screen. I mean, you got to cut something.
It'd be a 5-hour movie.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's compelling for sure. So Fade Rotha and Chalamet as Muad'Dib.
Muad'Ib.
Yeah.
Paul Muad'Ib.
Atreides. Atreides. That's right. Uso, I forgot that.
Yeah.
And Muad'Dib is the desert mouse.
Yeah.
So he chooses that name thinking he's choosing like a small name. And they kind of point out like, that mouse is not small. That is an amazing survivor. Yeah. He's huge in the desert. So they call him.
That made them just even.
That was a funny part thinking about it. It's like even when Paul did anything to pretend like he's not Lisa Nagi, but it's like, oh, that's definitely him. Yeah. He denies it. It's definitely him. That's exactly what the prophecy says. You know?
I mean, it's just the fanatics wanting something that might not be what it is.
Yeah.
Or it should be.
Yeah.
And it expands upon that.
And Paul plays that out.
Yeah.
Whether he believes it or not, he plays it out. And at some point, I feel like he somewhat believes it, but also still has doubts.
Oh, yeah. Until he takes that water. And then that's when he just transforms into
really believes
Darth Vader. I mean, he has a black cape on after he takes the life water.
That's true.
I mean, it just signifies, his kind of transition to almost.
Yeah. And Chani it separates from Chani like him and like Anakin and Padme kind of separate when he moves towards the dark side. Yeah. I mean, clearly George Lucas got a lot of inspiration.
Oh, 100%.
And of course, Throne of Blood, the Kurosawa's film. One of the Kurosawa films. Oh no, it's not Throne of Blood. Damn it! It's one of Kurosawa's films is a very huge inspiration for Star Wars as well. And I don't think it's Throne of Blood. I could be wrong, but
just the whole samurai.
Yeah. So Feyd-Rautha and Paul Atreides fight.
The two chosen ones.
It's a great fight. It's well choreographed. You can see what's going on. It's not like a Marvel fight where there's motion blur everywhere. Yeah. You see every move they make.
Actually backed off on the camera work to see every move, and
it's a brutal fight.
And it doesn't look like they sped anything up.
They were doing
trying to kill each other. It looked great.
The headbutts, both of them headbutt each other. Paul bleeds from his head. Feyd-Rautha bleeds from his nose. Feyd actually gets the first blow. I mean, he sticks a knife in Paul's, in what I like to call the no-kill zone on the side, which is where every injury happens in movies.
Which I wish we would have seen some, water.
Yeah.
Spewing out.
Yeah, because we see them, harvesting water from people.
That's my urine!
Yeah.
Hasn't transitioned into water
So
yet.
Paul ultimately, of course, wins the fight. And during that fight, before it, the other houses move in on their ships to the planet, and Gurney Halleck reaches out to them and tells them what's going on, and that Paul's going to take down the Emperor. And when he wins the fight with Feyd-Rautha, he barely wins, to be honest. He is he's on the edge of dying. He barely wins that fight. He managed to get the kill blow right at the end.
Yeah, they make you think that
he's
already got a knife in him.
Yeah.
And they make you think that he gets stabbed, and they did it. It was a really good job.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Because I was like, oh, they're gonna switch some things up here. Because I honestly thought he got killed.
It was close. Yeah,
I thought he was gonna die.
Other movies have done that, where it's like the knife goes one way or the other. So, but this is well done.
Yeah, he reversed it on Feyd.
Yeah, so he killed him, and I believe he killed him with the Emperor's knife. I don't think that was the Chris knife that he killed him with.
No,
because when he pulls it out and he drops it, it's metallic.
Yeah,
the Chris knives are teeth, obviously, of Shai-Hulud.
And that goes back to Gurney teaching him from the first movie.
Yeah,
he's like, you would have joined me in death.
Oh, you would have joined me in death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right there.
It all goes back,
So after the fight is done, Gurney tells Paul that the great houses have not agreed with what he's done.
Yes.
Basically, the Fremen are now at war with all the great houses for the Emperor, because they're going to support the Emperor. And Paul offers his hand, which he did this before as well, to the Emperor's daughter to marry her to form an alliance.
He basically told him that this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But that's where the movie ends.
Yeah, and
I had to pee real bad.
Yeah, none of the other houses see him as emperor, which is a difference, because in the books all the other houses are in that room.
They're in that room. Yeah, you said that, and they were kind of on the side of the emperor. Yeah, essentially, which makes sense. But I mean, to an extent, I understand why they wouldn't, because
you got to extend.
They think the emperor might come out on top there, and they can't be against the emperor because they think the emperor will take them down. But I also understand their houses respected House Atreides, though.
Yeah,
and that Leto had a lot of power with the other houses, so why wouldn't they follow his son?
Right.
So I mean, that's part of probably Herbert's novel too.
And him, Paul brought up many times, the other houses fear what just happened to our house.
Yeah.
The Sardaukar coming
and that's probably part of what why they're supporting it.
But yeah, of course, in the book, they wipe out the Sardaukar. They take out the Emperor. They make him submit. So all the houses are there. And then you move on to Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
So they're going to extend this into whatever they can.
Yeah.
It may be an extension on the story leading into Dune Messiah.
Yeah, it'll
but
probably...
Dune Messiah is going to have to be another, at least 2 movies.
Well, it's a shorter book, though. Like we were talking about, you listened to that one as well. It's only like 7 hours, right?
It's 10.
Okay.
It's 10.
It's only 256 pages.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could probably get Dune Messiah out in the
It's half of what Dune is. But
it's a third, because Dune's 900 pages.
So, yeah, I mean the audio. I don't read.
I never learned to read.
But I'm just curious, like I said before, I want to see what some reviews come out with people that are heavy book readers and love the story.
Yeah, it'd be good to see.
And how they like this movie as opposed to the books. Because, I mean, you go back to Lord of the Rings, that's like the pedestal. That's where you got to put everything.
You put that, what was it, at 40-year-old virgin, you put that pussy on a pedestal.
Yes. Yeah. So, they left out so much. But they did so many good things with, they kept the story true.
It was fine to do.
Yeah. They kept the story true.
Because I've read all the books when I saw Lord of the Rings.
They took some liberties, and they're doing the same thing with this.
Yeah.
Which I was talking to you about, the differences between the books and this movie. And there's quite a few, but I think they left out some pretty good... They balanced it pretty well.
Which is a sign of a good director.
Yeah.
Which Denis Villeneuve is clearly. Can we talk about Denis Villeneuve and how good his career is?
Oh.
I mean,
Has he made a bad movie yet?
No, and I haven't seen all his movies. I haven't seen Incendies. I think that's the only one. And I haven't seen Enemy. That's the 2 I haven't seen.
Well, we're going to have to watch those.
We need to watch it.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. But Villeneuve, he's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
I think he's Canadian. Yeah.
French Canadian.
Thank you, Canada.
You've been taking French here lately?
I have.
Redoing French?
I'm trying to get fluent in French. Because and shockingly, I remember one because I took it in college, too. Yeah.
We had it in high school.
Yeah, we took it in high school.
Yeah. Je ne sais pas. That's all I remember. Yeah. That means I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm a Duolingo. But, yeah, so we need to... Denny has not been in a bad movie. I mean, what is there? Sicario.
Yeah.
Arrival. Dune Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Prisoners, which is great.
Yeah.
He made Enemy. I'm pretty sure he was Enemy. I said Sicario already.
Yeah.
And Incendies. I'm pretty sure he's done something else. What else has he done? God, maybe there's something else.
We're missing something.
Yeah, there's probably something missing, but the guy is maybe the best working director. Him and Christopher Nolan.
So, you take a guy like Snyder.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Watch our list. Our Snyder ranking list.
Yeah, here we go. That guy can shoot a movie. It looks beautiful.
He can shoot it. Yeah.
But the story's lacking.
Yeah. Denny has both.
I said Vinny. I combined
Denis Villeneuve.
I combined his names.
That's his brother.
He knows how to shoot a movie and make a story work.
It's compelling.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, Snyder doesn't have the compelling thing.
Yeah.
Except in Watchmen. But Villeneuve knows how to make things compelling. He knows, like in this one, he knows what to cut. He knows how to move the story along to make it compelling. Like, I'm going to be honest. The first 2/3 of this movie, pretty slow.
Oh, yeah.
But compelling.
If you're not a big fan of this franchise or the first movie, you're going to find it pretty boring.
Yeah.
For a majority of it. Which, I mean, the first movie was kind of boring, too.
It had some slow parts.
So, but I I like this universe. So
it's a great universe. Yeah. I mean, it's shocking that it took them this long to remake this movie because Lynch's Dune has it's fun, but it's just a bad telling.
That is so rushed.
Yeah,
and you could tell they ran out of money or whatever.
Yeah,
he had to condense it big time. But I do.
Oh, Blade Runner 2049. I forgot that.
That's it. Yeah, that was kind of boring though.
I saw Blade Runner poster in my background here.
That was kind of boring for
I liked it though.
I did too.
The original Blade Runner is kind of boring, but I love that movie. It's one of my top 10. Yeah.
So I mean, overall, what did you think?
Well, first let's talk about Hans Zimmer and the audio mixing in this movie.
Yes.
I mean, epic. Hans Zimmer's score is an all-timer, to be honest. It's an all-timer. It's one of the best scores ever, and it's not too much.
He dubbed it down a little bit.
Yeah. It's not overstated.
Yeah.
It's perfect with that. And Denny hired a great audio mixer because, unlike you, Christopher Nolan, we can understand the dialogue over the music.
Exactly. And you're watching Oppenheimer right now.
Yep.
It's having that same...
it was okay. It was okay, but it has
problems.
Some issues.
Yeah. But,
I finished it last night.
Zimmer, I feel like he pulled back a little bit. Like that first movie was like, boom, in your face.
Yeah, I don't think he had to do as much for this one.
No.
There's a lot of the same
this
stuff.
one he pulled back.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more like quiet moments, I think.
Yeah.
For the character building, because there's a lot of character building. And there's a lot of characters in this that you understand where they come from. We don't even realize that.
And one thing with the music, I didn't even realize it until we watched Stuckman's review before we started this one, is that the music for the Fade Rotha Atreides fight drops out completely.
Yeah, it's gone.
There's no music.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
It didn't strike me, but it's clearly no music. They let you focus completely on the fight. So that's another thing with the mix. They knew when to use the music, when to pump the music, when to pull the music back, and Hans Zimmer provided the score exactly what he needed.
Yeah, because Hans is known for being in your face. With his big.
He does Nolan stuff too.
Big booming scores. Yeah, I loved his Dark Knight.
Oh,
his Dark Knight.
That's one of all timers.
I listen to that score all the time. Like A Dog Chasing Cars is one of my favorites of all time. But he's really about in your face, big bombastic scores.
He's the guy.
It is, but the quiet times were nice.
Yeah,
and he let the movie play out how it should.
Yeah, and you got to give it to Denis Villeneuve and the sound mixer and Hans Zimmer in those sections because they knew where music was needed, where it wasn't needed, where they needed to make it understated, where they needed to boom it, like the sandworm scene. That needed music. There's no dialogue.
Yeah,
you needed that booming soundtrack.
Because that is,
and it's amazing.
Those are big moments.
Yeah, it's amazing in that soundtrack.
And then let's not leave out the love story.
Yeah, got some nice understated.
I believe that these two are in love.
Yeah, it's very well set up.
It comes to, it builds
Paul
up
and
to,
Chani about that.
Yeah, Paul and Chani. They, at first they're kind of like, kind of teenagers dating.
Yeah.
But then they, they get invested in each other and they actually fall in love, and then there's a big connection there. And of course, there's a big difference from the books to this movie with what I told you about.
Yeah.
They actually had a child.
Yeah.
During Dune books that they leave out completely in this, which totally makes sense because they move this story forward a lot quicker than the books. They couldn't have a full warrior son in this one, so. But
it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, you were asking before I brought up Zimmer's score, what I thought of it all.
Yeah,
and I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'll rate it as well here, and I know I gave the first a 4.5, and it's because it was an uncompleted film. This still somewhat feels like an uncompleted film.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, but I think I'm going to go ahead and give this one the 5, the perfect score.
Really?
To be honest.
Oh wow!
Because I especially if I pull it together as a film with the first one,
yeah,
it's definitely a 5. I mean, it wavered pretty hard for me between 4.5 and 5, but just the scale of this movie, Denis Villeneuve's got this great vision, and I think I got to give it a 5, just because I think it's really good. Do I think it's perfect? No, but I think it's enough for me to say it's a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. See, I'm a little lower than you.
That's okay.
So I'm at a 4.5 because
that's what I gave the first one.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's still
fantastic.
Yeah. Only because I did feel like it was rushed a little bit at the end.
It is. And you read the book, so I didn't feel it the same way. So it's a little different.
Which, I mean...
Or you've listened to the books, I guess.
Yeah. I don't read again. If I read, I fall asleep. But, yeah, I gave it a 4.5 because I think the end was pretty rushed. But I love the direction they're going with it. You know, they deviated from the books just enough to where it's... I'm enjoying it. And
I mean, the question is...
I'm fine with everything.
The question is, are we going to get another one in a few years? Or is Denny actually going to wait like 8-10 years to do another one? Because I want another one in a few years.
I mean, with how they're approaching at the end of this movie, are they going to pick up right away? Maybe they're going to shoot part of it.
I feel like they're gonna do a little bit and then jump
to another 5 years. Yeah, which they would have to. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a universe I want to be part of.
This is our Star Wars now.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars now.
Yeah, this has the potential of becoming one of the best, if not the best, trilogy. That's a big statement, but
number one trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings is top.
Hard to beat.
You know, Star Wars is there, the original.
Indiana Jones. It's just a step below this, but it's still great.
This is gonna be. We'll see. We'll see how they pull off the third.
Obviously, we don't count prequels and sequels.
No.
Like legacy sequels, things like that. So.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Overall, yeah.
Overall, it was a great experience.
Can't wait to watch it again.
I want to watch them back to back.
Yeah. You need to listen or read the books.
I'm going to at some point.
You'll enjoy it.
I told you I listen to Children of Time, and I need to listen to the next couple books in that one. But yeah, Dune's on my list for when I can get like some credits from Audible to get it.
Another thing, going back, I love how they handled Paul's sister.
That was interesting.
If they would have done it like they did in the books, that would have been like, what just happened?
It's probably not. I mean, that's a book thing that works during the book, but it doesn't work as well in a movie.
12 years.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well in the movie because the timeline doesn't work. It's like, you've just been fighting the Harkonnen for 12 years and not taking any initiative in this, so it works better in a book than it does in a movie.
Mm-hmm. So they handled that pretty great.
Yeah, I liked it. Like I said, the Anya Taylor-Joy cameo as Paul's sister grown up in his vision is fantastic.
That's a good casting for it.
Great. And and that's it. I think you got anything else to say?
No.
All right.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think about Dune Part 2 and Dune Part 1 if you want to. We loved it, clearly.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to follow us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@BasicBrewRoom. Podcast, Basic Brew Room. You can find it on pretty much any of your podcast apps. If obviously you're listening to this on a podcast, you've already found us. And you can also follow our golf channel, BMR Golf.
We're probably going to get new footage tomorrow.
Tomorrow when we go and play golf.
8 o'clock.
We love our golf channel.
Yeah.
We just don't post very much. And you know what? We don't post that much on this channel as well because we have lives. We have to take care of kids and do other things. But we love you. We appreciate you watching. And we hope you keep watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and listening.
Let the spice flow.
Let the spice flow.